Hello and welcome to this spotlight on the divorce experts. And I am super excited to have Laurie Gerber on. And we're going to talk. Laurie is just a phenomenal resource for women, particularly women, let's say of an advanced age, of certain women of a certain age who are interested in after post-divorce life, move, or perhaps if they've been widowed, or perhaps even if you've maybe never been in a marriage, but you're looking to find that next or your future final partner of life. Laurie is really a specialist in helping people with this. She is the founder of Laurie Gerber Coaching. She's licensed in the Handel method, and she focuses in on love coaching. And I want Laurie to just explain a little bit about her background and why she finds this an area of specialization. And then we are going to have a whole conversation about the 3H method that you have perfected and created and used with your clients. So Laurie, take it away. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yes. So bottom line, I think love's the most important thing. Bottom line, I really do. I've studied this. I've thought about it. I've interviewed a lot of people. And I do think it could be neck and neck with making a contribution in the world. I think people really care about how they show up in the world and what they give. And that's something that's really important. But especially as we age, I think that actually starts to wane, and your relationships and your love relationships tend to even come into more importance and focus. So I picked it as my niche, even though I have coached on every topic from time management to career to money to health to body to love. I picked love to focus on in my second half of life because I think it's so important and I think everybody deserves it. And I see way too many people give up on it for the wrong reasons.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love that because you are right. There's a lot of reasons why people may choose to stay single. And as somebody who has chosen to stay single, I totally support that. But that's not for everybody. And sometimes people stay single because it's like, I just don't want to do the dating thing.
I love a strong choice of any kind. Right? Like, I love a strong choice to believe in something, to not believe in something, to go for love, to not go for love, as long as it is a strong, heartfelt choice. As long as you're being true to yourself. That's what I believe in. But again, too many people want love, but give up on it for the wrong reasons. And so that's why.
Yeah. It's so interesting as the world is changing and how it's getting harder and harder. We know that people who are over, especially women over the age of 60, are the group that is at most risk to be in the poverty area. We know that there are women that feel obligated to get into a relationship because they don't feel that they can financially manage or emotionally manage, or I've never taken care of a house before, this is outside of my wheelhouse. But those are really just excuses. At least I think they are, right? Do you think?
I mean, I am not going to tell somebody what they need to survive, but I will say that I think it's equally unfortunate when you pursue love for the wrong reasons as if you don't pursue love for the wrong reasons, right? And as humans, we are incredibly great at coming up with BS to get ourselves off the hook from doing the hard work to find love. And just like I think love's the most important thing, I also think it's the hardest thing. I don't think most of us had good role models. I don't think I don't think consciously we really even, I think because we only recently started to live into our 80s and 90s and maybe have disposable income, just the whole reality is new for us of what is this? How would we? So even if we did have good role models, I don't think we really know how to stay healthy 60s, 70s, 80s in a love relationship. And because culture has changed so much from the 50s, 60s, and 70s to now, like it's just changed. Culture has changed so much so quickly.
Right.
I just don't think we know what we're doing. Even if we tried, we wouldn't know what we were doing. So I'm trying to hurry up and retool people who still want to believe in love and still maybe even have some romantic notions about happily ever after. I want to retool you in the digital age. How do you keep believing? What's the right strategy? What are the tools? What are the frameworks and sort of the new rules for how to make it fun and effective fun and effective. So effective equals finding what you're looking for, and fun means not completely exhausting and overwhelming and upsetting and disappointing. And there's a lot just from experience and coaching tens of thousands of people that I've figured out that can save you a lot of heartache.
Yeah. And there's so many of these, oh, just sign up. And I'm not going to name any names here, but oh, just sign up for this dating app and, swipe left, swipe right. And it's just a matter of playing the numbers game and eventually you'll find somebody. I hear that all the time. And it's kind of like if you just have a big enough pool to choose from, you'll eventually find the right person. Well, if you think of it like that, like how many years do you want to spend looking? That's what I want to know.
And you get cynical. It really is like trying to learn a sport. Like, let's say someone just kept throwing baseballs at you and you just kept trying to hit them with the bat. Like, you probably would eventually hit a ball. You might even get good at hitting a ball. But alternatively, if you had a coach or you had a team or you had a teacher or you even watched a YouTube video, like if you gave yourself any kind of education in how to hold the bat, how to swing the bat, what to look at, it's just going to make that process less traumatizing and make you more likely to enjoy it and be effective at it.
Yeah. Yeah. And so and I think the nice thing that you do is that you are really helping people find that, I don't want to say soulmate. I really don't like that word, but finding that person that's going to have the common interest, the commonality, that's going to be a good fit for you, as opposed to, oh, just date a whole bunch of people and see what tickles your fancy. That's
right.
really what we want to do.
I'm strategic. I'm very strategic. That's what the 3 H's is all about.
So let's focus on that whole idea of, because I'm hearing, here's what I'm hearing people that I know already saying. I'm hearing them in my head saying this. Well, love should be organic and love should be like eyes lock.
I'll know when I know.
Yeah. Your eyes lock across a crowded room and you just know he's the one, like all those Harlequin romance stuff, right?
I mean, we were fed these things early on.
Yeah. But you use the term strategic, and most people don't think of the word strategic and dating or love in the same phrase. So let's talk about your approach.
Yeah, this is fun. I mean, this was a revelation and a revolution for me personally too. So the 3 H's were actually invented by the Handel method. It's part of the Handel method that I'm trained in, and part of my Art of Love method, which is a wider framework of teaching people how to go through each stage of dating. But the 3 H's refers to your head, your heart, and your hoo-ha. And when I used to work for Match.com, they didn't like hoo-ha. They thought it was silly. They called it the heat. Oh. The head, the heart, and the heat. Okay. So what that means is you have 3 constituencies to satisfy. You have 3 voters. Your head wants something practical that makes sense. Your heart wants to feel good, trust, affinity, comfort, love, respect, all those kinds of things. And your hoo-ha wants to be turned on, wants chemistry. Now, most of us focus on 1 or 2 at the exclusion of all 3. Most of us were not trained to believe that you can have all 3. And so we divide the pie. And we're like, we'll take a little less sensible if they're really hot, or we'll take a little less heart if they make a lot of sense and they're hot. And we negotiate amongst these 3 as if they're in competition. And what the 3H method does is it just turns that on its head, and it goes, it's 100% head, 100% heart, and 100% hoo-ha. All 3 get their own whole vote, their own whole 100% of the pie, and you need to be 8 out of 10 in each. And if you are not 8 out of 10 in each, that's not your match. And if you're not paying attention to 1 or 2 of them, that's going to end up biting you in the butt. Yeah. In fact, look at your relationship history and you give each person you were ever with a rating for head, a rating for heart, and a rating for hoo-ha. You'll see very clearly you have 1 or 2 patterns, and you sell out on 1 or 2 of the H's because you don't actually think you can have it all, and you're not even looking for all of it.
Wow, that's such a unique way of thinking. Not a unique, but it is unique for me. I'd never heard, I've heard you talk before, but I'd never heard that exact breakdown. And I guess, I don't think I ever strategically thought about anything like that. It was either yes or no. And I don't know where I got that idea from. It was either like, yep, that one, or nope, not that one. But I don't know why, Well,
I think a lot of people, because of, to your point, because of the culture and how we're raised with Harlequin, Disney, I don't know. I remember watching a movie with Brooke Shields when I was young, and this boy, some movie where, it just is that romance that we tend to lead with hoo-ha in our yes, right? And if hoo-ha gets backed up with heart, we will go for something that has no sense in it, right? That doesn't make sense for our head. And then when it doesn't work out, we sometimes will swing. Same
Right.
thing with people who go, like all sensible and then lose their minds because they haven't had sex in years or been romance, and then they go all hoo-ha. So
Right.
either you kind of neglect one of them or you kind of pendulum swing from one to the other. So it was revolutionary to me too to go, wait, I never even thought about having all three. It almost seems like if they're really sensible, how could they also be hot? Does
Right.
that even a thing? Which then makes you start to go, well, then what is hot to me? Can I change my type? Because if hot to me is a guy who's unavailable, then that means that hoo-ha and heart are in competition. Or if hot to me means someone who's not available, that's low in head, then yeah, I've now pit my ages against themselves unless I ask myself, can I change my type? What do I think is hot? Why do I think that is hot? And open and good news, turns out people who end up happily together in long-term relationships often say the person they ended up with they didn't at first think was hot. They didn't at first think was their type. So that butterfly thing that happens at the first glance at someone can be an indicator of a good match, but is not always.
Right. Right. So, so I'm curious about this. I love this way that you've got of explaining this. I'm gonna ask you a question that, if you don't want to answer it, you don't have to. How does the whole "I only like bad boys" thing come in?
Right.
Because unfortunately, I work with a lot of clients in the past, and I've known a lot of friends in my life that are, we would say now in modern speak, we would say that's the narcissistic partner and the codependent. Like that's kind of what we would say, right? This totally emotionally unavailable, I don't care about you, I'm going to do my thing and you're going to be my, my old woman kind of thing. That's the kind of mentality that comes out. Why do some people have that mentality? Is that the whole daddy thing and dysfunctional homes? And
I mean, I think it's a turn on to think you can change someone. It's a turn on to think if I was really good enough, if I finally figured this out, then it means something good about me. And so I have to pick someone unavailable so I can do that work and prove that thing and then feel good about myself. It's kind of heartbreaking, right?
yeah,
Because you can even feel that it really is about your dad. It really is about sometimes your mom, but it really is about some very early relationship that's unresolved. And I do that work with women to get that resolved because I'm very sorry if your father was not present for you, did not see you, did not validate you, did not tell you you were beautiful, did not love you and take care of you such that you thought you deserved that in a love relationship. But F him, he doesn't get to keep messing up your life. Right?
yeah,
Like, not cool. Okay. At a certain point, you need to claim it back, even if he never apologizes. Oftentimes, I can get him to apologize. But even if he never apologizes and never owns up to having, not fully done his ideal job, you can decide that that is no longer going to dictate your future
right,
relationship again. And you can go, oh, I mean, I remember, Marty, I used to think healthy food didn't taste good. I just was like, it just doesn't. I just don't, I don't have a good relationship with healthy food. And it took me, I had to change my mind. I had to go, you know what? You're wrong. You have a bad type. Like
right.
you like bad boys, right? And bad boys are cookies and donuts and bagels and things I'm allergic to, like dairy, right? And so I was in love with the bad boy, and it made me feel crappy every time. And I just kept going back because I didn't know any better. It felt good in the moment, and I thought I could change it, right? I
Yeah,
thought I could now overcome it. And so I had to change my mind to go, oh, I was wrong,
yeah,
which is very humbling because it means I had to make wrong decades of choices, which is the same thing my women have to do when they go, oh, shoot. I was wrong for decades of choices, and I can change my opinion about something, but I have to start eating it. I have
yeah,
to start practicing it. I have to start dating nice, kind men and managing my mind and asking
right.
myself, why isn't this hot to me? What if we dressed him up? What if we played a role play? What if we, how do I make a nice guy hot?
Yeah.
Instead
So,
of a hot guy nice.
yeah. And I'm sure they have this conversation as well, and they're going on in their heads. You know, it's not just always a woman. You work with women,
Correct.
but let's take a look at this whole idea of changing your type, because this is quite fascinating to me. Because I always assumed, like, I know what my type is. My first husband was my type. My everybody I dated up to that point was my type. My second husband, not my type. Like, everybody was like, because just completely different physically, not so much intellectually, but just physical appearance wise. And, you know, we had a great relationship, but it wasn't like, it was kind of hard to make that switch from, you know,
one
this type to that type. Yeah.
Right. I mean, the first thing you have to do is want to change your mind, right? Actually go like, oh, this isn't serving me. I see that. I can see the pattern, which is why I have people do their relationship history, because then they see it, right? Just like I did blood tests and I could see I was pre-diabetic. It's like, okay, there's some evidence here that this is not going in the direction we want it to. Then you have to go, okay, what do I want my type to be? And start imagining that. So I still want someone who makes me feel safe in his arms. I still want somebody who's athletic. I still want someone who's as smart or smarter than me. I still want someone who's going to equally meet me emotionally. Like, there's still things I want. And in terms of food, I still want it to taste good.
Right.
Like, so there's now, what do I want? And that's what the 3H's process is. And in my free webinar, we walk through, what are the head criteria? What are the heart criteria? What are the hoo-ha criteria? And it's not the same for everybody. It's not. So you define what that specifically is. So now you're like, okay, I'm building a bear. I can see the human that would be 8 or above in head, heart, and a hoo-ha. So now you can once you can start to see something, imagine something, articulate something, it becomes more real. Then you start hunting in accordance with that chart. You have your friends, right? Have the group coaching, right? So your friends are going to be like, no, come on, don't forget that guy who's unavailable didn't end up making you happy. This guy's available. Let's see how you can find that to be hot. So then you start to practice, and you manage your mind as you're practicing, and you practice intimate, vulnerable communication, which then makes it kind of hot. So instead of it being like, does he like me? Does he like me? How do I have to contort myself to make him like me? Instead, it's like, if I reveal this thing about myself, will he still like me? If he reveals that thing about himself, will I still like him? And then the adventure is, do we like the true other person? Do we like the whole person? Do our liabilities match, not just our assets? And that becomes the excitement or the intrigue or the suspense, not, can I get him to look at me? Can I get him to say I'm pretty?
Right. Yeah. And so it's almost like you're creating a deep relationship from like Jump Street. It's not like you're going through we date. We have, we start getting intimate. We think about a future. And now
then we start talking.
The day before our wedding, we're going to talk about
if that, come on, most people skip it way into their marriage.
You will not believe how many women I have had tell me, when I was standing at the door of the church with my dad or with whoever was walking me down the aisle, every fiber in my being was saying, get out now.
Me too. That's like 90% of people.
Yeah.
Nobody's surprised that they got divorced. Honestly, they all knew at the beginning.
Yeah.
And so, yes, I'm reversing how we do it. And I'm asking you to go deep early so you can weed people out early. And if you believe that if you exist, they exist, if you believe there's a match, if you believe you deserve love, which is its own project, but if you believe that, then the process of dating really is just getting to know people and learning how to communicate and practicing being vulnerable and practicing telling the truth and seeing, just like if you were hiring somebody to do your website or if you were shopping for a meal, like, is this a good match or isn't it? And it's not personal, and it's not a test, and it's not a compensation, and it's not codependence, and it's not drama. It's just people seeing, would we make good dance partners? Would we enhance each other's lives?
I'm really curious. So when you coach the women through this and through they coach each other. I really love, or not coach, but support each other. Yeah. So if let's say I go on a date with somebody that is meeting my criteria, has got the scoring the 8 in all 3 categories, do I tell this dude, hey, this is what I'm doing. I'm going to ask you these questions right now and find out if we're compatible? Not in that word, but do we kind of let them know what we're doing, or do we just do this experiment on our own and kind of try to placate whatever concerns they might have with what questions you're asking?
This is what I'll tell you. I've never had someone get a bad response to telling the partner, this is what I'm doing. I've never had someone get a bad response. So I don't think that means you have to, but it is the subtext of what's happening for 2 people who are looking for serious long-term commitment. That's what's happening anyway. So to make it explicit and name it is just helpful. Many men have reported back really appreciating its clarity, really appreciating the candor, really appreciating the thoughtfulness of it all. It has to be presented in a particular way because it's meant to sound like a demand list. But most men really appreciate women being clear about what they want and need. It's like so helpful for them because they cannot read minds. And I just want to say one thing. If 2 people are attracted to each other, and this is very important because a lot of the shenanigans happen when you're not attracted and you're like, whoa, 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 whoa. A lot is possible when 2 people are attracted and are not yet having sex. Which is what I recommend for those first few dates where you're getting to know each other. You're attracted, but you're not yet having sex. So the not yet having sex means now you have to, by the way, I waited 6 months to have sex with my husband. Most brilliant thing I ever did. Not easy, but really brilliant because we wanted to. We fooled around. We had fun. The heat rose, but we committed not to. And so the amount of heart and head that got handled in those 6 months was so profound. And then the heat was so much better because we had waited and gotten to know each other so well, body and mind and spirit. But the point is, when you do your imagining, like, how could this work? How could this work? Imagine you're attracted, because if you're not attracted, you're not going to bother. And if they're not attracted, they're not going to bother. So you have to imagine 2 people who are attracted, but are deciding purposely not to go home on the first date or the second date or the third date. You're actually trying to see if you're a good match. And in that context and in that space, it's quite fun to get to know each other. And the reward is also fun.
And do you think it's also that, you're, dating in your 50s or 60s or 70s or 80s is a lot different than dating in your teens and your 20s. Like, there's a reason, there's so much teen pregnancy. It's because it's just like hormones are running amok and nobody's in control of anything. But, when you're mature, hopefully, fingers crossed now, it's not going to happen to every situation, but hopefully there's some maturity and some recognition that we're not just out for the sex side of it. We're out for the full. I mean, if that's what you're looking for, if you're just looking for the sex side, there's apps for that too, right?
And that's cool. That's cool. But there is something about dating in the second half of life that, at least this is my dream for women and for every gender, is just that you don't have to rush. There is just a very different purpose. The purpose is now companionship. It is not making a family or being, hopefully not about a financial arrangement. It's about companionship, and which means you can take it slow and you can do a lot of experiments and you can take risks being vulnerable about the truth about yourself, because if that turns them off, they weren't your person. It's okay. And it doesn't mean anything. It just means you're moving faster through the process.
And why waste weeks or months or years with somebody to then find out, if you, especially if you're, let's say on the north side of 70, like, why spend 30, why spend another, 30 weeks or 2 years or something finding out whether or not, you're feeling like, let's just move along.
And the reason people do it is because, number one, they're lonely. And number two, they don't have the actual skills. Because there are skills. There's literally how to ask the question, how to bring up the topic. This is probably the majority of the coaching I'm doing in the group and with individuals is literally, how do I say that thing? How do I have that conversation? And so because people don't have the skills and because they're lonely, they do stay in mediocre, 6s and 5s, not 8 or above kind of relationships. And that's why everyone's so cynical about love.
Yeah. So Laurie, let me ask you, and I think you described this really phenomenally, the three H's, the scoring, and you walk your clients obviously through this whole process of how to do the scoring and how to determine all these things and if you want to make some changes, how do you start changing that? And that's one of and you've given us this great resource that's going to be in the show notes. So it links you directly to Laurie's webinar, which will walk you through how to do the three H's. And it's a great introduction for her
And
services.
men can do it too, even though it's for women. Just
okay.
Please, anybody can do it.
Okay. So gentlemen, you are welcome to join in and do that. Let's take a brief flip here. Because this is something we talked about before, and I think it comes up every time I talk and I do not do relationship coaching with my clients, but it always comes up. And that is internet dating, is online dating really still a good option? Or is the more traditional, go to community events, get your friends to hook you up with their friends, all the things, go to a bar, things people used to do back in the day. Which is the best, what is the best way working with your model? Is there a better way to meet prospective new partners or best?
The answer is yes.
Okay.
That's like saying, if I need an outfit, should I go to the mall or a boutique? Or should I go look in my friend's closet? And the answer is yes. Do all of that, right? That's how you're going to cast the net widely. You do need to cast the net widely. You are a unique individual. The person who's a good match for you is a unique individual. It's not one in a million, but it's not everybody. Right. And so you're going to need to look around. And it's not even necessarily just because it's a numbers game, which it is. It's also because your willingness to look around, look up, and not be in your phone, talk to people, meet people, go online, get on an app, try it out, demonstrates your openness. It demonstrates energetically and spiritually, not just physically, that you are ready and open. So it has kind of powerful impact to try all of those.
Okay.
More than just one, or even the superstition, like, oh, it has to be this way. And people are always forever asking me, like, which site is the magic site? And I go, if you're asking me that, it's the wrong question. And I have a 36-page guide in my course about picking a site, but there's no right answer. And even if you do pick the right answer for you, that's not going to be why you find the love of your life. You're going to find the love of your life because you want it, you believe in it, and you keep taking the inspired actions. Not because you picked the right dating site, but but you do have to pick a dating site because that's how you're going to start to express your desire and practice. So
what about for somebody who says, I'm open to meeting people, I'm open to trying new things, but I'm not using an app, or I'm not going online, or I'm too scared of the weirdos that are out there that I don't want to attract into my life?
I mean, that is like saying, I won't go to the mall. And could you still find an outfit? Of course, but it just is going to be harder and take longer. And I'm more interested in breaking up your negative belief system than I am in kowtowing to it or honoring your fear. I don't want to honor your fear. It's unfounded. It's like being afraid your plane's going to crash. Like, it could, but it's probably not gonna. Right. And if you follow my 12 safety tips, you're probably not going to get scammed online either.
Yeah. And I was going to say, I know you walk your people through how to be safe and what to do online and what are the red flags to watch for and all that, because the red flags are pretty obvious. They're not that hard to tell. And I will say, full disclosure, I have never used an online dating app, so I don't have any personal experience with them, but I talk to a lot of people who have used them. And one of the things I always find is funny is when they say, well, yeah, we agreed to meet. And then every time we agreed to meet, they called at the last minute and said they couldn't make it. I said, that's a pretty good indication. That's not who you're not talking to who you think you're talking to. You may be talking to some guy in another country or who knows, but you're not talking to somebody.
I only need that to happen one time before you can move on. Yeah. And that is the beauty of the dating sites, is that there is a quantity there. Yeah. So the beauty of your friends is they know the people and the people are pre-vetted, but the beauty of the mall or the dating site is next. Yeah. Like, get too attached. Just keep playing and learning and practicing. And you can't mess it up with the one, right? So
And
if you find the one, you're not going to mess it up.
yeah,
Right?
and I always think your friends sometimes, because they think they know you and they think they know what you would like and they know what they would like.
Right. Hard to separate those things. Yeah.
It is. It is. Laurie, you have shared a ton, like a ton of such valuable information. And as always, I love your energy when we're talking. And what do you think the message you would like to leave everybody listening to this Spotlight on the Divorce Expert? Because I do think preparing for your next relationship is something you, if you want to be in one, is something you owe yourself to really take the time, work on yourself so that you're in that great space. What do you think? What do you want people? No, you got to come up with something else.
Okay. What I want to say is if love is what you want, romantic love, long-term partnership, don't give up. That's what I want to say.
And I'm going to throw something else in. Don't keep floundering around the same way you did to find the last 2 or 3 relationships.
Don't make the same mistake again.
Yeah.
Try a new mistake. Try a new mistake or try a good strategy. Those are.
Yeah. So, Laurie, what's the name of your website if people want to reach out to you?
LaurieGerber.com, LaurieGerber.com. You will see the free webinar there. You'll see a free quiz on Are You Ready to Date? You'll see my private coaching, my group coaching, my course, all the things.
It's got all the things up there. So, Laurie, thank you so much for being here today. And as always, it was such an enjoyable time speaking with you.
Same.
And thank you, everybody, for listening in to this episode of Spotlight on the Divorce Expert. And don't forget to check into the next one. Oh, and don't forget, like, subscribe, and make a comment if you have any questions or you want to learn more.